we're here for another teardown of a reel, and right now what we're tearing down is the 2020 Metanium MGL. So the reason why we're tearing down this reel is because I've used this for a couple of times already, and it started to feel a little bit grindy during the last fishing session that I had with it. And right now what we're gonna do is try to clean the internals, re-grease it, and also oil it. And I already pre-cleaned this before. I just had to wait for the grease to come in from the mail so that I can grease it properly. Okay, so let's start. Since I did not see any teardown tutorials on YouTube about the Metanium MGL, and I know that this is a very popular reel right now. So to open the side plates, to get access to the spool, you just have to turn this like so. And I already checked this bearing. This bearing is already good, so there's no need to do anything to this bearing in particular. It's just that I like servicing my own reels. If you're gonna turn the knot, remember that the right is to loosen and then left is to tighten, okay? And make sure to hold the drag star because you don't want the things popping out once you remove the handle, okay? And you need to keep in mind that there's this particular small part right here that you might lose. It has a spring, it's spring loaded. That is the one that gives the clicking sound to your drag star, okay? See this? It goes through these circles, and that's the one that gives the clicking drag sound for the drag star. So be careful not to lose that. The final screw that's holding the side plate. There you go. If you're gonna remove it, another tip is remove it this way, okay? So as you can see, it's already cleaned because I already cleaned it. But during the time that I first opened the reel, there was a lot of dirt and gunk all over the place because it started feeling a little bit grindy. That's why I decided to open it. But during that time, I don't have grease available, so I had to stop prematurely and then just put it back together and then do it at another time. Okay. So first, remove the drag pressure plate, which is this one, and then the main gear. This is the drag washer. So this is carbon fiber, okay? This right here is the one that triggers the thumb bar. You see this action right here? This is the one that triggers the thumb bar. This hits right there and triggers the thumb bar to go back down. See? Now let's remove the pinion gear. So this is actually removable. It's made out of plastic. It's like the first time that I've seen a plastic post like this, so I'm not sure if that's common with Shimanos, but with Daiwas I have not seen that before. This is a degreaser, okay? So you don't spray this not unless you're planning to open the gears and check everything and then re-grease it again after spraying. So that's why I don't recommend using bait casters in saltwater, because as you can see, there's no seals at all with this particular reel. So, and most bait casters has the same layout, so I doubt that Anything that they say that is saltwater ready, that means they just added some corrosion resistant ball bearings, but not really sealings on the reel, like the ones that you see on a spinning reel. You can remove these bearings if you remove the star clip right there, but I'm not planning to do that because I don't have a feel that I don't feel that I need to remove it, and I don't think that we need to go any further. Now, you can't really remove the anti-reverse part of this reel because you need to press fit the anti-reverse. So if you want to remove that, that's gonna be a little bit of a problem. I'm not exactly sure on how you can actually remove that, not unless you bring it to a Shimano dealer. And another problem is I'm not sure where you can actually find this part right here. The bearings, they're easy to source out. You can just buy them from bearing centers, but when it comes to the anti-reverse part, I'm not sure on how we can do how we can find a spare part for that without buying a new reel. So you see there's already watermarks forming underneath the gear, so that means that water really penetrated inside the reel. It's just that the good thing is that I'm using it on fresh water, so that's why I don't really suggest using it on salt water, because salt water would corrode this really quick. Would have like white rust all over it if you use it in salt water. Just remove all the dirt that might be hidden in the gear tube, that might be giving the dryness or dryness from the reading mechanism. So there's, as you can see, there's already some sort of corrosion starting to build up on the thumb bar trigger mechanism, and I'm not sure on how we can actually remove it, but let's try our best to at least make sure that it would not progress. I guess if you have a Dremel, and then you can put like a sanding tool that you can sand this off, but I don't have a Dremel with me, so I'm just gonna leave it as it is. Since this is just only for drag, I don't really think that this would affect the performance, but there you go, already done. Now time to put it back together. First, let's put this here. There you go. Make sure that it's flat. Okay. Now get this washer right here, the big one that you're not really sure what it's made out of. It's not carbon fiber, it's not felt. It's like a mix of felt and carbon fiber. I'm not really sure what this is. So put it there. You can add grease on this particular part, but it's up to you if you want to, but for me, I think I'm gonna do so. So let's just put a small amount of grease here. Maybe that would help a little bit with the corrosion. So there you go. Just a small dab layer of grease right there. And let's put another one on the top part. A not so thick layer right there. There you go. But first, let's add some grease on this part and on this part right there. This grease is important here because the pinion is riding on this particular plastic, so there has to be grease there. And also, don't forget to add grease inside the holes, because these holes slides up and down. There you go. Okay, so I suggest that you put this in first before you add the main gear. There you go. Now, don't forget to put grease on the main gear. So I don't suggest putting too much. So just the right amount of grease will do. And let it spread out on its own evenly, like so. Get the excess and put it back on the gear. There you go. So it's all greased up. Now time to put in the washer. I want to make sure that there's a thin layer of grease right here for the drag washer, like that, and the pressure plate. Okay, time to add the springs. There you go. Now, quick tip for this, for you to easily put back the side plate, I suggest that you put this in, but you need to add a small amount of grease, a very thin layer of grease right here. And for the grease, I suggest that you reuse the real grease and not just use any grease, because as you can see, real grease is a little bit different. It's a little bit thicker consistency. And also put a dab of grease here on the mechanism right there, but not too much. There you go. And also on the side plates. Just a small thin layer of grease on the side plate to help with sealing from the water. Just a thin layer right there. We're almost done. Now time to screw back in the side plate. And when you're putting back a reel together, I suggest that you don't tighten it too tight. Just the right amount of tension would do. Alright, so okay, good. Okay, good. Is it enough? Okay, that's good. Okay. Now, the screw tensioner back on. I was just give a small amount of grease on the screw tensioner, like that. Oops. Let's put it back together. Okay, there you go. Now, important thing to remember is, you can see this. These are tension washers, okay? These are called tension washers. So if you can see, there's like a gap between them. Make sure that there's that gap, because that's what's gonna put tension on your drag. You can put it the other way around and they would have that gap. There you go. The spring. Next is a star drag. See, this is spring loaded, so you can easily lose this if you're not careful. Okay, I suggest that you don't tighten this right away. Put your spool back in first. Okay, there you go. And now this, the side plate. Okay. Now what you need to do is tighten this drag star. So set the drag first to the lightest that you want, which is the same way that you got it from the factory. I got it like this, so this is the loosest drag that I have. And then now's the time to tighten the bolt. Okay. Wow, okay. So this is super duper smooth. Okay. This is even smoother than the day that I got it for some reason. Okay. So now for the final part, you just have to make sure that the nut is pointing towards the hole. As you can see there. See, the pointy end is pointing towards the hole, and then put the retainer and then screw back the retainer back in. And wow, okay. So this is even smoother than I think this is even smoother than the day that I got it. It's like you're not really spinning anything. It's like there's no gears inside. I don't feel anything at all. Wow, okay. And I did not re-grease this area right here, even though I already removed the grease from this area. I did not re-grease it. I'm just gonna add grease right now. I will just add a slight amount of grease, like so. There you go. So it's like I don't really feel anything at all. It's like I'm not reeling anything. It's like the gears are gone. Okay, it's that smooth. Let me give you an idea on how smooth it is. Okay, let me clip the mic in the reel. Can you hear anything? I know I can't. It's like butter, seriously. Okay, so I hope this helped you out, and as a guide for dismantling your Metanium MGL. If you're afraid to service your own reel, don't be afraid of servicing your own gear. You just need to have a good grease and a good oil. I made this tutorial in English because not a lot of people understands Filipino, and I don't see a lot of tutorials for the Metanium MGL 2020 model on YouTube on how to dismantle it. So that's why I decided to do it in English. So I hope this helped you out. See you again on our next video.